Okay, so if you're like me and you just got your new iPhone 10, you might think that, hey, it's the perfect phone. I mean, it comes with a fairly large 5.8 inches display, but in a form factor similar to the 4.7 inches iPhones. It has an amazing design, a great camera, the best display on a smartphone, according to DisplayMate, by the way. I still prefer the more vibrant colors on the S8 or the Note 8, but maybe that's just me. So what I'm saying is that the iPhone 10 feels like the perfect phone for most people. Most people who are willing to spend £1,000 or more on a phone, of course. But some of you might be thinking, where is the iPhone 10 Plus? Because with every single iPhone since the iPhone 6, we've had two models, the iPhone 6, 6S and so on, and the Plus model. With the iPhone 10, we only have one. And the good news is that the iPhone 10 is small enough for you to use with one hand, but maybe a plus-sized iPhone 10 would be an even better choice with a larger display for most people. Well, the good news is that Apple is already working on the iPhone 10 Plus for release in 2018, and here's everything you need to know about that. So grab some snacks and enjoy this pretty interesting video about the 2018 iPhone 10 Plus. Okay, so first off, why would you even need an iPhone 10 Plus when the iPhone 10 already has a much larger display than the current iPhone Plus model, so 5.8 inches versus 5.5 inches? Well, not really. A lot of people think that the display is larger, but as a matter of fact, it's actually not. So the overall display area is in fact smaller than on a Plus model iPhone. So the iPhone 10 actually comes with a 19.5 by 9 aspect ratio display, which essentially means that it's very, very tall. It's actually the tallest aspect ratio on any smartphone right now. So the iPhone 8 Plus has a more standard 16 by 9 aspect ratio, which is actually a bit more squared off. And just take this sheet of paper, for example. So when you fold it, the display is essentially wider. This is a wider aspect ratio. But the display is also taller, essentially. So you get a larger display if you measure diagonally, but the entire display area is actually going to be much smaller than the full paper, essentially. And if you take a look at the width of the display, the iPhone 10 has the same display width as a 4.7 inches iPhone. It's just much taller than those. And by the way, the 5.8 inches display size on the iPhone 10 is actually measured up until the very top corners. So it does include the notch, which is obviously an unusable display area. So even though the iPhone 10's display might seem larger than the iPhone 8 Plus's display, it's actually smaller. And this actually has an impact on the entire UI as well. So if you compare, for example, the home screens alone, you can see that there's a much larger distance between each apps on the iPhone. So on the iPhone Plus, they're a bit more spaced out. But the biggest difference between the two is when you take a look at the landscape apps. So the iPhone Plus models, they actually have this landscape mode, which actually works in the home screen. So yes, you can use the home screen in landscape, but it also works even better in some other apps. So for example, if you open up the settings app, you get your settings on the right and the main menu on the left, and you can just scroll through that and pick your settings that you wish. And pretty much the same applies to all first-party apps. So you get an extra menu on the left-hand side, very similar to what you would get with an iPad. Now, I don't really use this plus mode that much, but in some cases, like seeing all of your open Safari tabs in Safari, obviously, is very useful indeed. So an iPhone 8 Plus is definitely needed just for this. Now, Apple won't simply kill their Plus mode on their iPhones, so at some point in 2018, actually, Apple will be releasing a Plus version of the iPhone 10. And Min-Chi Kuo from KGI has released a report on the 2018 iPhones just this week, by the way. And if you've been following my Lisa Rumor series over the past few years, you know that Min-Chi Kuo was very accurate in all of his reports covering future Apple products. And he said that Apple will actually be releasing not one, not two, but 3 new iPhones in 2018, all of them completely new and all of them completely based on the iPhone 10's design. So the first one would be an updated iPhone 10 with an improved camera and better specs, so similar to the S models that we've seen before up until the iPhone 6S. Now this would come with a 5.8 inches OLED display, and then he also said that Apple will be releasing a second model, a Plus model of the iPhone 10 as well, so a 6.5 inches iPhone 10. OLED display, that would be a massive phone. It would essentially make it about the same size as a Samsung Galaxy Note 8, which is not a small phone by any means. So the Note 8 comes with a 6.3 inches display. So in that case, the iPhone 10 Plus would have a display even larger than the Note 8. But then keep in mind that the Note 8, the form factor of the Note 8 is likely going to be larger than the iPhone 10 Plus, or about the same size, since essentially with the iPhone 10 Plus, you would have even thinner bezels than on the Note 8, especially when it comes to the top and bottom bezels. And now here are some of the renderings that Martin Hajek did. Hopefully that's how you pronounce his name, or Martin Hajek. But just take a look at how an iPhone 10 Plus would look like when compared to the iPhone 10. So a very big size difference between the two. Now, the concepts that he made feature the same size notch as on the regular iPhone 10, which essentially means that you would actually get more room for your battery and Wi-Fi indicators. Maybe now you will actually have a battery percentage indicator, something that's actually currently missing from the iPhone 10. Now, of course, that Apple could just, make the notch longer to keep it consistent with the iPhone 10's design. But I don't think that's going to be the case, since they won't be adding any new sensors at all. But, maybe they want to keep the same space between the actual corners and the actual notch so that they can display the same indicators on all of their devices. But again, I don't think that this is going to be the case. So in that case, with the iPhone 10 Plus, we will see more indicators, which are always welcome. Now, apart from this, KGI also reported that the resolution of the display is also going to be increased on the iPhone 10 Plus, which, this is expected considering that we are getting a larger display, so the resolution is expected to increase. But the PPI is also going to be increased by a pretty fair amount. So according to Ming-Chi Kuo, it's going to be increased from 458, which is what we have on the iPhone 10, to about 480 to 500 on the iPhone 10 Plus. Now, I don't really know the price for the iPhone 10 Plus, but since most production issues with the TrueDepth camera are going to be fixed by Q3 2018, and the same applies to the OLED display, I do expect the iPhone 10 price to actually drop to the same price as the iPhone 8 Plus, and then the iPhone 10 Plus would be priced at around the same price as the iPhone 10 is priced now. So around $1,000 or £1,000 in the UK for the iPhone 10 Plus. But then again, this is just my prediction. So the prices for the 2018 iPhone 10 and iPhone 10 Plus haven't been leaked yet. When they are, I'll let you guys know. But other than that, the iPhone 10 Plus is essentially going to be just a larger iPhone 10. So exactly the same specs this time, just a larger and slightly sharper display. So you might be wondering which one's the third iPhone model that Apple plans to release in 2018, because I was mentioning that Ming-Chi Kuo said that 3 iPhone models were going to be released in 2018, not just 2. Well, KGI also talked about a new LCD iPhone, but instead of this being another iPhone 6 variant, so same design as the iPhone 6, it will actually come with the exact same design as the iPhone 10. Just with a 6.1 inches display. So essentially this would be in between the iPhone 10 and the iPhone 10 Plus when it comes to the actual size of the phone. Now, Ming-Chi Kuo said that this new 6.1 inches iPhone, that's how we're gonna call it, it would actually cost between $650 to $750 in the US and about the same in the UK. So essentially this would be Apple's lowest end offering, but it will still come with the exact same design as the iPhone 10 and even the TrueDepth sensing camera. Now, I'm guessing that Apple will have to make some compromises, especially if they want to keep the price as low as KGI reported. So compromises such as, having the aluminum, an aluminum frame or even a plastic frame. These are actually very possible compromises, and maybe even a single lens camera instead of the dual camera module that we have on the iPhone 10 and on the iPhone 10 Plus. Now, Ming-Chi Kuo also said that the resolution of the display is going to be lower on the 6.1 inches iPhone. So we're going to get about 320 to 330 PPI, so probably 326, that's Apple's magical number. So quite a big drop from the 458 on the iPhone 10 or 480 to 500 on the 6.5 inches iPhone 10 Plus. And it seems that the main reason why Apple will have a new design in all of their iPhone models next year is because they want to remove the home button, and they also want to add Face ID to all of their iOS products. And yes, in that case, Touch ID will be dead entirely, unfortunately. And yes, this will also include the new iPad Pros as well. In case you want to know more about the 2018 iPads, I've actually done a video on all the 2018 iPads, so definitely check that out if you want to know more about what to expect in 2018 on all the iPad models, the iPad mini, regular iPad, and the iPad Pro. Let me know in the comments, by the way, what do you think about the iPhone 10? Do you think it's too small? Would you actually get an iPhone 10 Plus next year? Or do you think the cheaper 6.1 inches iPhone would be an even better choice? If subscribe if you want to see more Leaks and Rumors episodes like this one. And also don't forget to enable notifications by tapping on that bell icon so that you get notified as soon as a new cool, epic, cool video, tech video comes out. Now, in case you're wondering, yes, I do think that the iPhone 10 is currently a bit too small. So I would personally get an iPhone 10 Plus next year. I would probably get it, but I'm really curious to see how the cheaper iPhone 10, iPhone 11, whatever, 6.1 inches iPhone will actually do when it comes to sales and also performance. Because if you think about it, having a larger iPhone 10, because essentially it's going to be an iPhone 10, so a larger iPhone 10 with an LCD display and significantly cheaper than this, well, that would be a deal breaker, because even the LCD displays on the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus, they're really, really good. They're essentially the best LCD displays on any phone. They're just not OLED and they're not high resolution enough when compared to the actual iPhone 10. But yeah, this has been pretty much it. So thank you for watching. Feel free to give us a like if you enjoyed it to let me know. I'm Daniel and I'll see you guys in my next one. Son of Tech, signing out. Cheers.